What is up, mortals? Welcome to Part 4 Season 1 of What If Deku Was a Namu, having completed their mission with limited success. The newly minted Vanguard Action Squad reconvened in the bar. But not in celebration, there was still a rather sizable, yet adorably naive elephant in the room. Sitting in its center with a small rubber ball that Kurogiri had provided was none other than Izuku Midoriya, or as they knew him, All Might's secret love child. So, are we just going to pretend like he isn't here or what? I just want to know what the game plan is here, Compress asked, speaking awkwardly and getting the conversation started. His gaze affixed on Shigaraki, the room in suspended silence. I had nothing to do with him. This is Stain's work. I'll kill him and send his ashes back to his dear old dad, the leader announced, flexing his fingers and moving towards the oblivious teen. You can't kill him, Spinner cut in, standing in Shigaraki's path. This isn't what Stain would want. If Stain were here, he'd drop him off with the authorities, then continue on his path. We don't know why, but it's what Stain would do, the superfan said passionately. There was sufficient information to prove his point. Many in the room were inspired or moved by Stain's principal beliefs. Some wanted a world free of Flay's heroes, to be accepted or to change the world in one profound way. Stain was the catalyst for the new faces to finally take grasp of whatever fate laid before them. This is All Might's son. Why would I allow you or anyone to give that fake anything? It was a statement, not a question. Tamura's skin was starting itch. When it itched, he grew agitated, and when he was agitated, it typically led to someone or something as a pile of dust at his feet. Move, Tamura ordered, causing Spinner to reach for the handle of one of his blades. The room was devolving into dissension, and Spinner didn't stand alone. One look at the broccoli top's face was all it took to see that he mentally inept. The teen was helpless, and killing him didn't rub some the right way. Sure, they weren't paragons of virtue, but even they had their limits. Mustard cocked his gun. The room grew hotter. Magna lifted her magnet, and Toga was taking it all in with a Cheshire smile. Before blood could be drawn and lives lost, a static voice came from over the speakers in the room. Now, Shigaraki, calm down. You're upsetting your new friends. As a leader, you must hear the woes and opinions of those that follow you. It is a monotonous task at times, but it builds character. Now what's wrong? All for One asked in supportive fatherly voice. They want to spar All Might's seed, Shigaraki answered in a growl. And that surprises you. From what I've been told, the boy looks rather pathetic. Killing the poor thing now would be tantamount to smothering a baby in their crib. Haven't I raised you better? The underworld boss chided gently. Yes, Shigaraki stepped down but still glared daggers at Midoriya. He wanted him dead, but now wasn't the time. Now that we're all calm, perhaps an explanation would suffice as compensation for this little tiff. The few grumbles heard told the man that the answer was a unanimous yes. As you all may recall, a few weeks ago there was a little incident in Hasu. The press told you how the child ended up in his condition, but not the why. It was then that All for One told them all in great detail. Stain's hunt for the hero native, Ada's quest for revenge, and Izuku's fight with Stain. After the fact, Stain was distressed with what he had done, ending the career of admittedly a true hero. I couldn't argue against that. He sought out help to mend the poor child's career, but unfortunately there were complications, thus explaining his present condition. He has no memories of his own. He's a blank canvas ready to be made into a masterpiece. He fenced with the hints of a smile in his voice. Midoriya was to All Might what Shigaraki was to himself. The mirth the ancient man was currently experiencing was like drinking an unexpected high-quality wine. This was true euphoria for him. I propose a vote. You all should choose if you'll kill him, keep and mold him, or give him back to the heroes. It didn't long for one of them to speak up. I say we keep him, Toga suggested with a bouch in her step, waving at the mental infant. He emulated her action, bringing a wider smile to her face. When he giggled at her antics, she closed the space and hugged him. Oh please, can we keep him? He's even covered in blood. He's perfect, she squealed with a manic glint in her eyes. Then, show of hands. Who says we take him to the authorities? No one but Spinner raised a hand, while Toga made funny faces so she could hear more of her muse's giggles. Who wants him dead? Compress asked. No one raised their hand, not even Shigaraki. Who wants to keep him? Dabai asked as the rest of the room raised their hands. Toga cheered, and with the exception of Toga and Izuku, the room grew awkward. So, like, who's going to look after him, because we can't leave him with her? Mustard pointed at Toga. The girl glared murderously at him like he was trying to take away her new favorite toy. I believe I have the solution. Kurogiri, would you be kind enough to make our new recruit presentable? We can't have him walking around in such a disheveled manner. The smooth and pleased voice of All for One asked his subordinate, who obliged with a curt bow. Come, young one, let's make you presentable to the world. The newest member of the league looked towards Dabai for approval. The scared villain walked to the other boy. taking his hand and putting it in Kurogiri's. Izuku left without a fuss with Kurogiri. All eyes turned to him except Mustard. Stain ordered him to find his father. He thinks that's me. So now he follows me like a baby. The flame villain explained. This was an interesting development that was beneficial to the League. So, who did he kill? I just gotta know whose blood that was. No clue. But some of that blood is Stain's as far as I know. Stain was injured when the guy was carrying him. Mustard informed the group. Abruptly, Toga shot to her feet and ran off in the direction of Kurogiri and her new best friend. Should we try to stop her? Compress asked the group. No. If she does anything too crazy, we'll kick her out. Shigaraki spoke calmly as he left the room. He would use this new pawn as both a weapon against what he saw as a corrupt world and All Might himself. Everything he didn't like he would still turn to dust. Nothing that happened today changed that. Some time later, the classes of both 1A and 1B were gathered in an auditorium. Since the attack on the training camp, much was unfortunately going to change. Firstly, UA was going to be turned into an on-campus academy. The loss of one of their own and the subsistence attacks on students demanded more precautions. Secondly, they were offering student counseling to those who were stressed or concerned with their safety. Not knowing the fate of their friend had caused many of them to experience grief. But for Ada and Ochako, it drove them to hysterics and tears. Something horrible had happened to their friend. So terrible that the teachers and even the press were hiding information from them. After the assembly and the sun had gone down, the two classes uniformly met in a common room. The rival classes decided that it was best to exchange information and bury whatever grudges were between them. After some time of exchanging rumors and gossip, Kirishima shared his story with them. They turned him into one of those things. He killed a villain without hesitation, then he just walked away. It wasn't him. I don't know him like Bakugo or Uraraka, but I just know that the Izuku we knew was gone. There was nothing behind his eyes. He moved like he was an autopilot. I tried to call out to him, but I couldn't stay awake. I'm sorry. After Kirishima's tale, both classes sat in deep thought. None of them had ever considered the possibility of being turned into a mindless slave. Then it happened to Izuku Midoriya. And for what? Doing the right thing. They had many questions they knew no one else would answer for them. In truth, most were scared of a similar fate happening to them. With the rare exceptions of Bakugo, Shoto, and Ida, there was never a point in his life that Bakugo could say he was actually homicidal. Until today, the relationship he shared with Deku had eroded. He hated everything about the nerd not long ago. But that changed during the sledge villain attack, when everyone else was too much of a pussy help him. And the members of his crew abandoned him. Deku was there. Even after years of conflict, he still stood by him when it counted. Bakugo would never say it aloud, or admit it to anyone. But he truly did think of the nerd as his first and best friend. He silently swore to himself that come hell or high water, he would rescue that damned idiot regardless of his condition. Meanwhile, with All Might in a crowd of heroes, a plan was on the cusp of implementation. Stain had survived his near-death experience thanks to Recovery Girl. The instance he came to and saw All Might looming over him, he apologized fiercely and offered the symbol his life. When the killer discovered that Izuku wasn't returned to All Might, he swore revenge. The killer told All Might everything he knew, the location of the villain hideout, informants, and the names of anyone else who would know anything about All for One. After absorbing the information, All Might knocked the killer out with a single punch. Since then, the heroes laid the best plan possible to both rescue Midoriya and capture those keeping him. The rooms are committed. Within its walls, several of the country's top heroes: Endeavor, Mariko, Best Jeanist, Edshot, Kamui Woods, Crust, and All Might himself. They'd all been called by All Might personally to aid in this mission, and they'd answered. Ever since All Might began looking for Izuku Midoriya, the world felt a weight it couldn't move off its chest. It was like everyone was holding a collective breath. A maelstrom was on its way, and no one wanted to be caught in its violent throes. You all have your orders and know your roles. Tonight we strike a deafening blow against villainy. The pro-hero, sir. Night, I said, mobilizing his fellow heroes. Tonight the storm would touch down. Thank you all for watching the video to the end. Now there is a few more things that I'd like to go over before the video ends. On behalf of We the Celestials, I'd like to thank the writer for this video, as well as the editor for this video. Their details will be in the description. If you're a voice actor, editor, or writer, or you're interested in becoming one of those, go to the Discord that is in the description of this video and hit up the head of one of those areas. We're always looking for members to join us. That's it from us for today's video. So thank you all for watching, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you're interested, and hit that like button if you liked the video. Until next time, peace out mortals, have an amazing day.